I started competing around 24, 25. And now that I kind of look back at that decade that I spent, I can see all the lessons, all the disciplines that I acquired, the certain character traits that have enabled me to, find success as an entrepreneur, enduring the hardships of starting a company and like staying on the grind. And then now in the addiction side of things, like I realized like a guy struggles, in my world due to either lack of discipline or lack of a belief in himself because he's probably tried and failed before. And I think those are two things that you acquire not knowingly while doing it, but through the development of getting ready for a show. Like you willingly like put yourself through pain and discomfort. So talk about, if you can, like what have been some of the, character traits or life skills that you've developed and how you've applied that both in your business, but then in the balancing of your work life, growing a company. Just what has bodybuilding really brought to you as a person?
A couple things immediately come to mind. One is, and this is I think is also very clear from the research, is your ability to delay gratification, to like invest energy and effort today so that something in the future will pay off big, is at the heart of bodybuilding and training. I mean, you train, you don't instantly get bigger. You exert effort, and then over the time you recover and things get better. And that is just a huge skill in life where you have the ability, especially with business, right? Fit Father Project is very successful now, but there was probably 3 or 4 years of making no money and just putting content out online constantly, right? Delayed gratification. What I learned from bodybuilding was that, sure, you don't start off deadlifting, whatever, but after 4 years of consistent effort putting in the reps, you do get there. So I think that's number one. Number two is you get to learn a lot about mental chatter and not necessarily believing thoughts that come into your mind. So, for example, one of the early training programs that I did in high school that was beautiful was like super squats. Basically, the 20 rep squat set. You drink a gallon of milk, and it was like as simple as a high school boy could do it. But you do like pick your weight you can do for 10 reps on squats, and you do it for 20. The bar stays on your back for several minutes. Like you're doing whatever it takes, right? That is such a beautiful thing that training teaches you because you get to face one more rep. You don't squat 20 reps in a row. You squat maybe 5 to 10 reps, and then you do 10 sets of one effectively. Mm-hmm. But what it teaches you is that when you encounter and face hard things, that you have a reservoir that's very deep, and how you perceive the challenge is often how hard the challenge feels. You can almost always do one more rep. I mean, obviously that does fail at some point, but the concept there is certainly teaches you how to stay in the thick of things, to be calm, and maybe if your mind's screaming at you that you can stop, but there's that part of you that knows that you're just going to descend anyway into the next rep. Like, that's a really beautiful experience. The other thing I think that's very relevant is planning and structure and goals. So the cool thing about competing in bodybuilding is you're like, I have a show. It's in 12 to 16 weeks. This is when I'm going to start my diet. These are roughly the macros that I start with, and we change and adjust from there. Bodybuilders are some of the most regimented people on the planet. You're doing it with your exercise, with your training, with your nutrition, your sleep, your supplementation. So that regimentation can be applied to any goal in life. You create a container for it. I think this is what we do with our program members, right? They join our front end program, and it's a 30-day program. We do that for a reason. Not that you're going to change your health in your life in 30 days, but it's a short enough structure that we can create a very specific game plan, and it works like that. So I think having vision and then applying the discipline, the rhythms of structure is for sure huge from the training side. And I also think there's a great lesson too in bodybuilding and physical fitness, in that, well, I say bodybuilding specifically, you train for potentially years, but at least like 4 weeks before a show, or 4 months before a show, I should say. And you get to that show day and you're on stage for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Like it's such a short amount of time, but yet you invested hundreds, if not thousands of hours in preparation. So it also teaches you inherently that the gift can't be where the judges feel like you fell on the scorecard that day. The gift is certainly everything that you were able to do through the application of effort and will and the transformation that you made. You know, it's nice to win shows, and I loved winning shows, but it's always you against you at the end of the day. And I think another fun thing about bodybuilding, as you get further down, like it's good to be a good amateur bodybuilder, but as you go deeper in the ranks, the tough, some of the tough realities of life do set in as well. And that's the fact that there's probably someone on stage with better genetics than you. And I think that's important to understand too. It's like in life, if we keep measuring sticks to be external things of necessarily other people, like it doesn't quite work like that. Especially with a sport that has these kinds of baked in disadvantages. And I think in today's day and age, it's really important to play your unique hand, the one you were given, to the best ability possible, and be able to have the self-awareness of what that is, and then to go assess and deploy that. And I think bodybuilding teaches you that as well.